Welcome back to Scavenger Workshop. Today we are going to show you how to assemble the Scavenger ankle. First thing you want to do is get that countersink drill bit, and we're going to countersink these holes to the different sizes we need to actually assemble this thing. So let's go ahead and get started with this. We're going to countersink these with the small 1024 hole. You want these to be countersunk right underneath the surface. All right. These are the inside holes that you're gonna mount the curved part to. So it's important that these are underneath the surface, so that way when you slide your leg in, it doesn't catch on the screw. Next, we're going to switch out to the 1/2" drill bit, and then we're going to countersink for this security nut. Make sure you test it periodically, make sure it's flush. Those look good. Now this piece is done. We're going to go ahead and jump on the next piece. That's this one here. So we're going to switch back to the other countersink bit, and then what we're going to do is we're going to countersink these two holes for the M6. Once again, you want to go right underneath the surface. Same thing with this side. Right, and then you want to countersink this one to the smaller one here. This piece is complete. Next is this one. You're going to countersink these outside ones right here to the M6. Alright, that one's done. Next, you're going to have these two pieces here. You're going to want to make sure you do these on the opposite sides. If you do the same side, you're going to have to order new plates. So this bottom one's going to be for the M6. Alright. And then this top one's going to be for the smaller bolt. Alright, these two pieces are complete. The final two pieces are these. You're going to want to do these as the opposite as well. This is going to be the big bit for the security nut. Now with these, you might want to clamp them down because it is going to bite down and try and twist out of your hands. You're going to go really slow and don't apply a lot of pressure. Also, make sure you do not go all the way through. You just want to go enough so that way it's almost flush. You will have to file this down a little bit once you assemble it just to get it completely flush, but don't go all the way through. Alright, that's done. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sand down all the surfaces so that way it gets a good adhesion with the glue. So we'll come right back once I'm got that done and we'll start the assembly process. Right, welcome back to Scavenger Workshop. We are going to continue with the assembly process of the Scavenger ankles. So first thing you're going to want to do is get your epoxy. Now, you want to get the high temperature epoxy that cures within 24 hours, not the 6-minute stuff like I have here. The 6-minute stuff won't, it dries so fast, you have to know exactly what you're doing when you put this stuff together. I actually made a mistake on one set. I had to try and rip it all apart, regrind it down, and then do it right. So you want to make sure you use the right epoxy. So hopefully I don't make the same mistake again, but we'll see. We're going to do just a little bit at a time with this one, so that way we don't have the same problem of it curing really fast. So go ahead and mix this stuff up. And we're going to just brush this on. Now, don't worry if you get it in these holes. You can drill out these holes later with the proper size drill bit just to get the epoxy off of them. Alright, looks like I'm probably going to have to mix a little bit more. Maybe not for this little piece. It doesn't really matter if you get it on the screws, because you're never going to want to take these screws off again anyway. So we're going to go ahead and put the next plate on. Like that. Yours is going to have notches cut out of it. This is a version 1. We didn't have the notches there, so I had to drill a hole. This is so that you can have access to that screw. So, all right. Mix up a little bit more of this epoxy here. And then we're going to get this piece here. Drop that piece down. All right. Now at this point, you want to go ahead and put your couplers on. All right. And then get this next piece right here, just so that way we can lock the couplers down. All right. Get your hex, and then tighten these couplers down. Make sure your alignment is good. Next thing you want to do is grab these and kind of straighten out, grab a wrench and try and straighten out these couplers, just so that way you can get the plates on and off. Next part, we're gonna go ahead and drop this piece in. All right, make sure it's aligned. Now we're gonna mix up some epoxy, and then we're gonna tap these little side pieces in. Grab your side pieces. Now it's very important that this is on the inside, right? So it's going to be on the inside and on the top, like so. Because when you put these side pieces on, like this, you want to make sure that they're in the right orientation, which is going to be like that, right? So let's go ahead and put some epoxy on these and tap these in place. Should get that in there good. And try and clean up the epoxy on the edges if you can, because if you're using that 6-minute epoxy, it's going to set, and there's going to be a gap that it's going to cause. So make sure you clean it up good. Now that that's set, we're going to start working on this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these pieces on. Epoxy. Drop it in place. place. I'm trying to work fast because this stuff is drying fast. Alright, those are in place. Next part you're going to want to do is going to be, let's see here. I always have to do this to try and figure it out. So I put the stack down, and then I want to see where my bolt lines up, my hole, so I know. Okay, so this long one goes on top, right here. Let me get some more epoxy in there. Mix that up. I'm going to go ahead and stack these in there. Now what you didn't see, what I did off camera, was I kind of put these together and drilled a little hole there, because that's going to be tight for when you put your bolt through there. You want to make sure you have adequate space and your bolt doesn't, because it'll spin that nut and then you won't be able to lock it down. So you want to make sure you got it in there a little gap, just so that way it's where it needs to be. Was put these screws in these slots right here, these nuts rather. See these nuts? Those are the M6 nuts. They go in there. Now I can tap the plate in. Alright. Throw some epoxy on this whole plate right here. So this stuff is pretty nasty. And then we're going to tap this final piece in place. You might have to turn it on the side. Give it a little tap like that. Alright, now that that's in place, what you want to do is get your bolts. You don't want to tighten them up, you just want to roll them in there so that way the alignment's good. Right? Throw them in there, turn them a little bit, just so they catch. Because if you tighten them up, it'll be hard to get the sides on. Right? So now that we have it like that, we're in final stretch. Some more epoxy. Just gonna gump it on here and on here. Make sure you get it in these little crevices, because you want it to adhere as best as possible. And the excess will squeeze out. Alright, put that plate on. Tap it in place. Turn it over. epoxy everywhere. And then tap the final piece on. And now for these screws here, drop them in place. All the way down, tighten them up. Same on this side. All right, tighten it up. These little ones, it's going to be these tiny screws right here, and these lock nuts. They go on the inside right here. These are just ones I told you you're going to have to probably shave down a little bit. That's in there. We're going to do the other one. Drop that one in here. That one's in there, and then on this side you have two of them. That's going to be a medium size one. Let's see, is it this one? It's this one here. All right. There we are. Now, once you're done, you can wipe it down, all the excess stuff off, and you know, kind of grind it down a little bit where it's sticking out, and then, you know, add your filler and, you know, primer and paint it. So that's pretty much it. That's the assembly process for the Scavenger ankle. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day.